One of the concerns, I do agree with Mr. Cummings that one of the deep challenges is you are flying an airplane, and the capacity of that airplane continues to continue to grow. And one of the big concerns we have is we have to do the inspections, we have to worry about the penetration tests. At the same time, we've got a constant need in the IT sector to upgrade. So I do understand and respect that. But I do believe also that we, particularly in Congress, rely heavily on the Inspector General to be the impartial eyes and ears on the ground. Ms. Stone, I want to talk about one of the penetration tests from at Social Security Administration. This was a test conducted by the Department of Homeland Security. It was done at the request of the agency, and it was done in August of 2015. When did your office first learn about this test?
We were actually briefed on these tests in September of 2015.
So you were given a verbal briefing in September, roughly a month after the test, correct?
Correct.
And when did you first get a copy of the report?
Within the last 2 to 3 days.
From just now, right?
Yes.
And where did you get that, where did you get a copy of that report?
I believe my chief of staff requested it from a component within the agency.
And I believe that, did you even know there was a report?
We did not.
How did you learn that there was a report?
In conversations with members of your staff.
So now that you've had a chance, it's our staff that lets you know that there's a report. You get a verbal briefing. You don't know that there's an actual report. We let you know that there is a report. And then now that you've gone through that report, what do you think that the verbal briefing accurately portrayed the results of that test?
Well, at this point, I would say we haven't had an opportunity to do a deep dive on the report, which is why we need to look for any inconsistencies. There was some language used in there in the report, as I understand it, that was not consistent with what we received during the verbal briefing. So we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to evaluate that report, and because we have our contract auditors in doing their annual FSMA review at this time, we will definitely share that information with them.
Do you think the testers, did you know, for instance, that the testers observed and copied personal identifiable information and were able to exfiltrate that randomly generated material?
We did not know that until we had the opportunity to review the report. I believe the earlier briefing suggested that there were no PII.
That's kind of an important point, don't you think?
Yes, it is.
Well, okay, we got 3 people from Social Security here. Please explain to us why you didn't let the Inspector General know a pretty important part of the test, that they were able to exfiltrate data. How can you not share that with her?
I can't speak to the specific report. Marty or Ms. Eckert will be able to do that, but I do want to emphasize that we invite the auditors and Homeland Security in to test so that we can identify vulnerabilities that we can fix. My understanding is that it's not as if they're penetrating us from outside. We let them in, and then they began to look at how they're going to be able to hack the system, and they give us the feedback, and then we look at the recommendations of what we need to do. But relative to your question of why we did not inform the Office of the Inspector General, I think Marty probably would be able to talk about what our process is.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. It may be the timing of the briefing that we did as opposed to the actual final written report and why there may have been inconsistencies in what was shared.
What, is it not common practice to share those reports with the Inspector General?
We share many work products with the Inspector General,
but
even in a...
do you share them or not? It's you see where it becomes suspicious to us when you have something that's not very flattering, it's embarrassing. I think it's human nature to want to, I hate to share this, but I also do believe that the Inspector General there is there to help be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And it is suspicious when, you know, you have this report and you don't share it with the Inspector General. You went to the lengths to give them a briefing, correct?
I believe so. I believe that was right at the time that it was occurring, and we were letting them know that that was going on.
Well, my understanding is that the briefing happened roughly a month after the penetration test started. So here's a copy of the report, Risk and Vulnerability Assessment for High-Value Asset, prepared for the Social Security Administration, September 28, 2015. Congress shouldn't be the one to tell the Inspector General that there's a report. How would they even know to ask for the report?
So we share over 1,100 different pieces of information from them as part of the financial statement audit. So Ms. Stone referred to the request that we are doing that again now, and we share everything that is required as part of that audit. We don't necessarily share with them every work product that we produce, and we will know in the future to share those products.
Well, this was a report produced by Homeland Security.
Yes.
It just seems to us, it comes across as if you were hiding something from the Inspector General. That fact that they were able to, unimpeded, do a penetration test, albeit that you invited them to do it, but that was the finding, is that they were able to exfiltrate personal identifiable information, which means there is a problem, and you don't share that with the Inspector General. Ms. Stone, is that the way it should work?
I would say no. Typically, we have a very good working relationship with the agency, and there is back and forth with sharing information. I would like to add one point, however, to this, is that when we had our contract auditors in performing similar penetration testings, those testers also gained access to the point that they could see PII. So the fact that that weakness or vulnerability existed was not news to us, but the fact that there was a report and we had not gotten a copy, that was news to us.
Mr. Chairman, I will say that, again, we have a very strong relationship with the Inspector General as far as being responsive. I always see them as an early alert system. I'm sure that this had to be an oversight because there's no evidence of any history of trying to hide something. It's very possible that the staff was reviewing this so they'd be able to respond prior to sending it to the Office of the Inspector General, but we will make certain that that type of breakdown does not occur.
I appreciate it. We have some more questions about it, but I'm well past my time. We'll now recognize the gentleman from Pennsylvania.